My name's Paul Crawford. I'm from Kiltr. Primarily a technology startup company based in Glasgow. What is Kiltr? A lot of people will ask, what is Kiltr? We ask that every day, actually. It changes. When you do a tech startup company, anybody doing it, the guys here would say, you pivot and you do change. That's part of the nature of the beast. Previous to this, I was not remotely involved in any technology whatsoever, which is why I still have notes written down on a pad. My background was in nightclubs. I used to own the sub club in Jamaica Street, which is where I met the two co-founders of Kiltr, Brian Hughes and Stuart Fraser. So here is our platform. Basically, most people who have heard of Kiltr always say, Kiltr, is that Scottish LinkedIn thing? Which, there's a fair bit of truth about it. That's primarily probably where it kind of started. It was, the term new media, I first heard from Brian Hughes in the sub club 5 years ago saying, disruptive new media. And I was like, what the hell is that? But I soon got my head around that he wanted to disrupt traditional media and come forward with a new media. At that time, Kiltr though was very much trying to disrupt the kind of more public global Scot kind of thing that was going on. So the kind of idea of the Scottish LinkedIn was trying to disrupt the global Scot network for anybody that knows what that is. So come along to probably August 2013 and there was a kind of pivotal change basically in Kiltr. We had at that time about 25,000 registered members, and we'd done a canvass of opinion amongst the members and the most active ones about how they would like to see Kiltr change. And the feedback that we got was that they would like to see much more relevant cultural content. So version 2 came along after much blood, sweat, tears, tantrums, everything you could possibly imagine. In August 2013. We were actually meant to try and launch it at Scotland Week in New York, and we went there and we couldn't launch it and we looked like absolute idiots. But anyway, that's what happens sometimes when you do this thing. So August 2013, the relevant cultural content came along, and that means that anybody can post. 95% of the content we have is user generated. We have a very small team creating content, but 95% of it is created by our members, which since the referendum leaked from around the 25,000 and the launch of version 2 to about 70,000 where it is now. We're still not happy with that, and there's two aspects to Kiltr. There's collective works, which is I'm also part of, and he's also part of, we're all part of, but Collective Works is the technology that underpins Kiltr, and that has been built by us and we own all the IP for that. So the idea is that we replicate that technology for other new media outlets or other organisations. We've got our first commercial client actually last year, and it was Brewdog, the craft beer company, who have built a community platform for their equity punks, basically, that they can go on and immerse themselves in all things craft beer. So coming up to the kind of distinction again between Kiltr and Collective Works is an important one to make, because at the moment Collective Works is constantly trying to innovate around the technology, and some of the things we're doing, we've partnered up with Cisco, and we came through their incubator Cisco Create. We won an innovation grant from the UK Technology Strategy Board, and it was using Wi-Fi to try and reinvigorate and help high streets by driving footfall and traffic. So the way that works basically is we used that grant. Unfortunately, we didn't get phase 2, which was £900,000. Unfortunately, we never got that. We only get the first one, which was 100 grand. But we used that money to develop the idea of onboarding, so using Wi-Fi to actually push content to people, and using it in a hyper-local sense, so basically using the proximity of the access points to push content relevant to that access point. So we're now trialling this in the Finnieston area of Glasgow. So if you're in the Finnieston, Porter and Rye or Lebowski's, you can go in, and when you use the Wi-Fi, you will be asked if you want to join Kiltr. You don't have to, you can just become a Wi-Fi member, but you will be presented with content from Kiltr from each of their profiles. And we've just signed up SWG3 and the Rioja, Pickle Ginger and the Rotunda to take part in this as well. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the technology, the content, and the difference between Kiltr and Collectorworks. We're doing some really interesting stuff with Cisco. We won another grant actually as part of the Internet of Things. I don't know if you know about that, but that was a big one for us. We basically part of a consortium including Cisco and Manchester University, and we were part of the winning bid for a £10 million fund to again try and use technology in a smart city sense. We're also looking at Spitalfields market at the moment with some of this stuff, onboarding with the Cisco kit through onto a socially aggregated hub, so pulling all the content from their Facebook, all the vendors' Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever they are, and present it in a nice format. I'm going to pass over to my colleague Erik Sandberg, who's our content manager at Kiltr, and he'll probably tell you we've got some really exciting stuff going on with the redesign, the rebranding of Kiltr about to happen, and Eric's been responsible for a lot of the content stuff that's been happening, including like live streamed interviews with Noam Chomsky, Yanis Varoufakis, Chris Hedges. It just goes on and on and on. So Eric will tell you a bit more about what we've got planned and some of the stuff we've been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate what Paul said there. There is to discerning differences between, a lot of people here might think that, can you hear me okay? Yeah. A lot of people will say to me, well, what is Kiltr, how does it make money? But everybody in this room has to understand that we have a technology company that underpins Kiltr, and it's called Collectorworks. And people don't really realise that. You just see Kiltr, as a kind of front of house media company, which it is, and it was our first test product, if you like. And that what you see there is a content platform that is populated with content, and bloody fucking good content for that measure, which I spend hours and hours and hours every day researching. As Paul said, Noam Chomsky, Yanis Varoufakis, Chris Hedges, Nicholas Sturgeon, Mary Black, etc., etc., etc. So basically, my job is to source content, from individuals that have good reaches with Facebook accounts and Twitter, so that I can then say to their PAs, right, great, we've got this interview, can you share that on your Twitter? Because you can tweet from your own account and add their Twitter handle or whatever, and you're just not getting any traction from it unless it's coming from a horse's mouth. You're not getting any traction, okay? So yeah, that's what I do. And I've had the X, Y, and Z, and Kiltr really came of age during the referendum, and Kiltr, let's also be clear about this, Kiltr is an impartial platform. We're not cybernats, we're not nationalists, we're none of that. I live streamed a bloody Jeremy Corbyn rally from the fruit market in September, okay? So we're not, yeah, of course everybody in the bloody office has got an opinion, everyone's got a bloody opinion. I'm fucking sick of reading opinion pieces in The Guardian, to be fair. Every person in this room has got an opinion about something, and that's fine. But let's be clear, Kiltr is an impartial platform that wants to give every Tom, Dick and Harry, Sally a voice. It's a user-generated platform. And the reason why we are succeeding in replicating that technology is because it's user-generated. User-generated content is the future of new media. Okay? It's so important everybody realises that in this room, because journalism is completely in its arse, you know. I was going to mention Sunday Herald there, but I won't. Or a gang group. But yeah, so during the referendum we came of age, and I live streamed a concert from Usher Hall, and we got like 5,000 sign-ups in 48 hours. Like, it's so. One of my roles at Kiltr has been a growth hacker. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a growth hacker is, it's basically like a new buzzword for content marketing. But we gate the content, and we kind of like ask people to sign up to our platform to view that content. But not only that, like in November of last year, I live streamed a bloody Arthur Rimbaud and Paul Verlaine play from the Citizens Theatre for 10 days, and then 4 days at Traverse. So we're moving on to politics now. We're getting away from that referendum stuff. We're sick of it. We're absolutely sick of like talking about Scottish nationalism and referendums. So, you know, with the right kind of research and the right kind of like get the right content, the right people in place, you can grow a platform. We've got 70,000 registered users now. I mean, that's a lot of users, you know. And as Paul said, we had Noam Chomsky, Yanis Varoufakis. I had this Skype today with a journalist from France who just got chucked at China because China's really cracking down on what China's a communist state. But we are open to any content, and if we think it's a little bit, if it's exclusive content that people in this country aren't aware of, we're up for it. You know, we want Kiltr isn't like some sort of tartan shortbread tin thing. You know, you're thinking out the box now. We're bored with Scotland. We're really proud of our roots, and we're really proud that we built it in Glasgow, but we want to think out the box now. That's where we were at, and sign up.
Tell us about the redesign.
The redesign, oh yeah, redesign. How can I forget that? Yeah, Jim Lambie, who's a Turner nominated artist, he basically, if any don't know Jim Lambie, he's like, he's designed floors for like fucking Beyonce and all that, you know? But he rebranded us a couple months ago, and we're going to launch version 3 of Kiltr in May, hopefully, and he's rebranded as it's a dog's bollocks. And again, that's a great way to PR your media platform, like, you know, and you know, Jim did it as a favour because he believes in he likes our content, and he likes our shtick, you know. So it's about community. Do you know what I mean? Not to sound too hackneyed or trite or cliched here. It's about creating a community and connections around people and saying, do you know what? You know, actually Jim lives next door to us, doesn't he?
3 doors up.
3 doors up. So, you know, it's literally about community, not figuratively speaking. It's literally about creating a community and creating bonds and saying, yeah, we're into your shit, he's into our shit, and yeah. Okay, thank you, I'm talking too much.